Get ready, because Formula One is about to get a serious shakeup. We are on the verge of a massive high-tech revolution with the 2026 engine regulations. And believe me, this change is so big it's going to redefine the sound, the strategy, pretty much everything about the sport. So let's dive right in.
But here's the thing. At the very heart of this revolution is a fascinating and kind of tricky question. What happens when a Formula One car has an incredible amount of electric power, but just not enough battery to use it all the time? This is the core challenge, the big puzzle we're going to try and solve today.
So, you might be asking, why? Why tear up the rulebook and start from scratch? Well, this is way more than just a few tweaks to the cars. This is a fundamental shift, an attempt to push Formula One into a new, more sustainable era, and, maybe more importantly, make it more relevant to the cars you and I see on the road every day.
The big idea here is pretty clear. Create an engine that's simpler, cheaper, and way more sustainable. We're talking 100% sustainable fuels and lowering the barrier to entry so more car makers can join the party. And you know what? It's already working. This vision is exactly what's bringing huge names into the sport.
All right, now we get to the really juicy part, the most dramatic piece of this whole puzzle, where the power is actually coming from. Formula One is aiming for this perfect, almost poetic balance of power.
This slide just says it all, doesn't it? A perfect 50-50 power split. Half of the power from the traditional combustion engine and the other half from a massively beefed up electrical system. We're talking about a true, honest-to-goodness hybrid in every sense of the word. And to really get a sense of how massive this is, you got to look at the numbers. Right now, the combustion engine is king. But in 2026, its power is actually being pulled back a bit, while the electrical output just skyrockets to nearly match it. I mean, think about that. This is a complete philosophical shift in how an F1 car generates speed.
Okay, so the big question is, how on earth do you actually pull this off? How do you rewire the most advanced engine on the planet? Well, it really boils down to two huge changes to the hybrid parts of the engine.
And the engineer's plan, when you look at it, is actually super elegant. It's really a two-step process. First, you simplify the whole system by ripping out one of its most complicated parts. Then, you amplify the power of what's left. It's like addition by subtraction, and then a whole lot of multiplication.
So first up, simplification. The MGUH, a bit of a mouthful, right? It stands for Motor Generator Unit Heat. Just think of it as this tiny, super complex turbine that captures wasted heat from the exhaust and turns it into electricity. Getting rid of this notoriously complex, famously expensive piece of kit was the key that unlocked the door for manufacturers like Audi to finally join the F1 grid.
And now for step 2, amplify. And this is where things get absolutely wild. The MGUK, the Motor Generator Unit Kinetic, basically grabs energy when the driver brakes. Its power output isn't just getting a little boost. No way. It is nearly tripling from 120 to a massive 350 kilowatts. That is a mind-blowing leap in electric power.
Now, to feed that absolute monster of an electric motor, the cars have to get way, way better at harvesting energy. The amount they can get back just from braking is going to nearly double to 8.5 megajoules every single lap. That means the cars will basically be recycling their own energy on a scale we've just never, ever seen before in this sport. Okay, but this is where our story takes a sharp turn. This is where that amazing, ambitious, sustainable vision crashes head-on with the cold, hard reality of racing at over 200 miles an hour. A brand new problem has appeared.
The big fear, and you hear this from engineers all up and down the pit lane, is this. On tracks with really long straights, think Monza or Spa, the cars just won't have enough juice in the battery to power that massive electric motor all the way down the straight. The battery would just run dry.
And just think about what that means for the race, for the show we all love. Can you imagine cars just hitting an invisible electric wall and having to lift off the gas? It could lead to drivers being stuck in boring energy-saving modes, making the cars slower and ultimately giving us way less exciting wheel-to-wheel racing. That is the absolute nightmare scenario for F1.
So faced with this massive potential problem, the rule makers are working on a pretty clever, high-tech compromise. It's a plan that's all about saving the show on Sunday, making sure the racing is still fast and exciting without throwing away that whole 2026 vision.
So here's the idea. Have two different sets of rules, one for qualifying and one for the race. In quali, for that one perfect lap, you unleash the beast, the full 50-50 power split,
all 350 kilowatts of electric boost. But then, for the race, you dial it back a bit. The power would shift more towards the engine, with a more limited electrical boost, just to make sure the battery can last the whole distance.
But here's the really clever part, the part that's going to change the racing. A new overtake override button. It's going to give drivers a short, tactical burst of the full 350 kilowatts of electric power to help them overtake. And unlike the current DRS system, this is a limited resource that the driver has to manage. Think about it. This turns every single straight into a high-speed game of chess. Do you use your boost early to attack, or do you save it to defend an attack later on? It's going to be fascinating.
So what does this all mean? Will this high-tech fix give us the best of both worlds? A new golden era of strategic wheel-to-wheel racing where driver brainpower is just as important as raw speed? Or are we headed for a future where Formula One is just a complicated energy management puzzle, where the fastest car doesn't always win? The countdown to 2026 is definitely on.